Welcome everyone to this very special Damien Memorial School Class of 1973 Roundtable discussion. I'm Mars Basa, Damien Class of 2024. I'd like to begin by introducing the distinguished alumni of the Class of 1973 that are here with us today. First, we have Mr. Dwayne Ogata, Class of 1973, number 12, quarterback. Next, we have Mr. Heine Fountain, Class of 1973, number 44, safety, punt returner, and kick returner. And here is Mr. Kevin Donahoe, Class of 1973, middle guard, number 70. And joining us remotely are Mr. Tim O'Brien, Class of 1973, number 16, safety. And finally, we are delighted to welcome Mr. David Fautua, formerly known as Fa'a Inu Inu, Class of 1973, number 87, defensive end and tight end. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, let's get right into it.
Thank you for having us, Mark.
Of course. So, can you guys describe your number and position?
Number 12, quarterback, 5'7", 150 pounds.
And by the way, Dwayne didn't like being 5'7". He was actually 5'8", but on the lineup it said 5'7", so he's just trying to be honest.
But see, I remember Dwayne. I think he was 6'3", too short.
Age does that too.
Maybe he's changed.
So my name is Heine Fountain. I was number 44. I was a starting running back, defensive back, and I returned kicks and punts.
My name is Kevin Red Donahoe. All my classmates only knew me as Red because I had real bright red hair. I was number 70. I played middle guard, right in the middle of the defense, and I also played offensive guard once in a while.
And I'm Tim O'Brien. I was in the backfield with Heine somewhere. I played safety or quarterback, and if there was a punt return, a short one, I try to grab it. But
Yeah, then I take it away
so
from him.
primarily on defense.
So David Fautua is my name today, and for the last, I would say, almost 20 years. My original name that I was born with was David Fa'a Inu Inu, and I'm Samoan. And the reason why I changed that name is I ended up being a chief within our group in Samoa.
David was number 87, and he played both tight end and defensive end. And he was also, David and I were the only two to actually make All-Stars.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so what was your start for football? Like, what inspired you, or what was the story on how you joined the team?
Well, we just let Kevin come in just because we didn't have a white guy with freckles. Obviously, I am kidding. Kevin joined us sophomore year, right? He wasn't with us. Timmy and Dwayne and I and David were all there from freshman year on. When we first started, we were a small school. We had a little over 600 boys. We were an all-boys school. So even though we had 600, it would be like about a 1,200 member school if we had boys and girls. And so most of us were multiple sport athletes. Fa'a was a star basketball and football player. Dwayne was a star baseball and football player, right? I was a track guy and football guy. Did you go track? Did you?
No, I was surfing.
And so Kevin and Timmy did soccer, right? Which we didn't have till our last year or two. But yeah, we're all multi-sport athletes, so it's just what you did to go play ball.
So I came here as a freshman. My dad was transferred here. He was in the military. And I had started playing football when I was younger, in 8th grade, inspired by my older brothers. And I wanted to be just like them, be good football players. So I played 8th grade, I played 9th grade. We got here in the summer of 1970, and I started hitchhiking from Waipahu to this dirt field out here to meet these guys and start playing football, because that was in my blood.
What about you, Timmy?
Well, see, my dad taught at Damien. He was the first lay teacher back in 1966, 67. So, I always followed, Damien football, went to most of the games, until I got through grade school, and then finally, of course, at Damien for 4 years, where, freshman year we met up with everybody. So I was always looking forward to playing football. And then, of course, I just naturally gravitated towards Damien, where my dad taught at the time. And I had so much experience, I knew, I knew a lot of people that were going to go there.
He was a lifer. He was a Damien lifer. What do you do?
What got me involved with football was basically I played baseball all my life from a very young age, and when we came to Damien, I love sports, and I got involved with football. I used to play on the street football, never played organized football before, but came to Damien and tried out, and I found out I was the littlest guy out there. David was like 6 feet already in ninth grade, and I was 5'3". And I remember going out for the JV team, and they only had JV at the time. And they had a drill where you have 3 guys, and they backpedal it, and the coach would throw the ball up in the air. Well, I was getting ready to jump, and David caught the ball already. And I didn't even leave the ground to try to catch the ball, and that was really disheartening for me. And I said, at that point, I heard there was a freshman team, first time ever. And so I tried out for the freshman team at that point. So.
For me, I grew up in Waianae. Waianae, everything was football, right? So I played Pop Warner football there, and as an 8th grader, I was on the Waianae Junior Varsity football team, and I was a starting running back. And so when I found out that my family wanted us to go to private schools, and so my 2 sisters went to Kamehameha. When I got into Damien, I made the move to come, and so football just came with me. It was natural. I was just a ball player.
So I came to play football mainly because I'd already been playing football since 6th grade. And it's through the Catholic system, or Catholic schools, wherever church that I was attending. And I kind of grew up in the Catholic system. So starting from there, I was very used to playing football, etc. And I had brothers, 3 of them were older than me, that were also athletes playing in the system as well. So starting from there, I was very used to playing football, etc.
Could you tell me about some of the other players on the team, see how they were?
Yeah, we, like Dwayne said, there was an intermediate team, a junior varsity team, and a varsity team, right? And we were very fortunate to have a very close-knit class and group of classes.
Yeah.
And so we had great teammates. We had juniors and sophomores that played integral roles. So I think just Damien, we were the new kids on the block, right? Ponoho, St. Louis, Kamehameha, and Iolani were well established, and we had to find our own way. And so I think that it was something that bonded us as a group.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I was going to reminisce and say, in those days, I figured 1969 when we were freshmen and sophomores, however the math comes out, we had big teams like the freshman year, and freshmen and JV and varsity. I mean, they had a max of 7 or 40 people, maybe 45 on the team, I'm not sure. And, some guys had to get cut. There was just that kind of interest during those days. So, Damien's football had already, of course, been in play for, a number of years, but it seemed like as the enrollment grew, and then the numbers of football players also grew, and I'm sure it was the same with the other sports too.
We had to try out, it was tough. The tryouts were tough. You had to make the team.
Yeah, when we were in freshman year, there were only how many people played junior varsity football with you? Just you and Merv?
Just to start out, yes.
Yeah. So when we tried out, we were all up at the junior varsity, and I was a running back, and I started at Waianae's junior varsity. They were junior varsity champions. And then to come here, and the coaches said, if you don't start, you have to go to the freshman team, right? And I remember Fa and Merv, they were just so much bigger than us. Fa was 6 foot tall, I believe, as a freshman. And this is a great athlete. So the coach told me that it was best that I go down to go play. But it was extremely competitive back then.
So football was like a foundation of Damien, basically.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. And you had to earn your way to it. Nothing was given.
So I did talk to, I think, one of the older teachers, Mr. Rudy Alejo, and
Yes.
I asked them about stadiums that they played in, and I heard about the Termite Palace. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Go ahead, Dwayne.
Termite Palace. That was our old Aloha Stadium down, our Honolulu Stadium it was called, down on King Street. It was a classic. It had been there many, many years. All our future stars in football and baseball played there. And enjoyed the field. It was a natural grass field. It was always well kept. When you compare it to our field here at Damien, we had mostly dirt and a lot of
And rocks.
rocks, dirt, and a lot of ants. And so when you had to do your drills and you had to lay on the ground and do either push-ups or leg raises and stuff, you always had to check the field to see if there was an ant pile before you laid down. That was really bad. But
We had attacking chickens too.
oh,
There was a whole chicken coop at the end of the field.
Hey, Timmy, what do you remember about the Termite Palace?
Well, I was thinking, I always thought it was just, it was big, it was beautiful, we usually had a pretty good crowd in there, so we could, listen to them cheer for, for the team. But I thought it was special, and of course, coming from, our dirt field, and our field was dirt. I mean, the only time you could clean it up was if you were on detention. Obviously, you get to come in on Saturdays for an hour or 3, depending how you did that week or didn't do. And we would walk around and pick up the rocks with a bucket.
Right.
And so when we got to play, sometimes early on, we got a few times we played at the UH or, a couple of that, when we played the OIA teams, we got to play at, their field. And that was nice, but when we got to play at the Honolulu Stadium, you just felt big time. And it was a lot of fun that I remember. Unfortunately, I don't remember night games. It was always like a 12 o'clock start, so it was so hot, some of those games, But, it always felt good being in a big, in a big arena like that as a young person.
The Termite Palace was an absolutely awesome place to play for this reason. It was all made of wood, right? It was only one level. And when you weren't on the field, you were walking underneath the bleachers. And people would drop their sodas, it would drop on your head, or their popcorn.
peanuts.
It was peanuts, and the stands were right up on the field. And you had the Diamond Head end zone and you had the Eva end zone. It held 20,000 seats, which doesn't sound a whole lot in today. But for us, when we had triple headers or the Thanksgiving Day, we'd put 10,000 seats for high school football in there.
Wow.
I was going to say, Heine, we had good crowds too. I mean,
Yeah, we had
it was
great crowds.
Big games, and I can't remember the numbers, but you could fill half a stadium.
Yep.
I'm sure, and then the All-Star game, much bigger than that.
The two teams came into the game from one side. The bus would drop you
Oh,
off,
yes,
and you came in.
yes,
When you
yes.
left, you had friends that would, after the game, would give you. I don't know if they still have it, quarts, and they were in the wax cartons.
Yeah.
They would
Guava
give you
juice, passion
Guava
orange.
juice,
Yeah.
your friends,
Yeah.
girlfriends, they would give you it as you're heading off to the bus.
Yeah.
That was kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
special.
They would
I forgot
freeze
about
it,
that.
so it was like our slushies.
Yeah.
Right?
So after the
And then
game,
depending on how popular you were, you would have more
More
of
than
those
one,
little
yeah.
quarts. Right?
And that was a highlight of my, one of my highlights of that stadium was getting through the game and having a girl from Sacred Hearts or St. Francis come up and give me a quart or a half gallon of guava juice.
Yeah.
I mean, I played almost just for that. But let me tell you this. I had 3 sisters at Sacred Hearts and St. Francis, so it mostly was my sisters giving me the stuff.
But nobody else knew. They just thought you were popular, huh?
They would handle the juice, but sometimes, it was just, you get on the bus with juice, and it was just like, okay, win or lose. I mean, you were sad, but just the fact that, somebody remembered you, and wanted to make you feel better after the game.
Robbie Robinson, who was the middle linebacker for us, and my close friend, we both lived in Eva Beach together. We worked at the stadium during all the University of Hawaii games as ushers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was great. We would go under the stands during the games because not just sodas and hot dogs fell down, people's wallets, purses, all kinds of stuff. So we were down there with the rats. The rats are scurrying, eating all the stuff, the boiled peanuts, and we're looking for people's purses and wallets. Okay.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, but that seems like, oh my gosh, those sound like very fun memories. I think we should bring back the court thing. Like, for if you're more popular, you get more courts.
You don't do it now?
We don't do it now.
Nobody does it.
You don't go and, oh,
Times
that
have
was
changed.
the greatest.
Times have changed.
Times have changed.
Yeah, but typically football teams would have a way to like lock in or like get ready for their games. So did you guys have, as a team, have any special rituals or techniques that you would use to lock in?
Every football player goes through a process. And for us, we had a great group of leaders on our team. Different ones were vocal. I was a very vocal leader, and I was very intense. David was very vocal too, until we had to get ready for ourselves to play. Timmy was more of a show you on the field kind of leader. So everybody went into their own pockets of the locker room, do their own thing. Dwayne was, even though he was our quarterback, Dwayne was, I'm going to do my job and you guys follow me and I'll lead you to a victory kind of a leader. He didn't say much at all.
Yeah, I do. I remember that. I mean, there was, you know, we had a lot of guys in the team that were, I mean, we're just tough guys. I mean, they're mentally tough, physically tough, you know, that maybe didn't, you know, weren't loud and, you know, weren't the rah-rah type. I remember, I mean, just guys like, you know, Alex Lopes and, you know, Merv Richards. I was thinking Alan Cadena, you know, these guys that were, you know, on the line, you know, Robbie Robinson, you know, guys like David, certainly Kevin, and, you know, Heine, Dwayne. These were our, you know, our vocal leaders. Certainly, you know, certain athletes, you know, you could say maybe they were the best athletes. You know, certainly, you know, high caliber football players. But they also played lots of sports. You know, so they were all around athletes and leaders. So
I remember sitting quietly and wrapping my hands up with tape and tying my fingers together, so I could use my hands more like a punching glove. Because if my fingers were loose, I would be breaking them. I broke my fingers many times, so I had to tape them all together when I played on the line. So I could be more effective as a weapon.
Yeah, you know, but there were people that had rituals. So one of it just triggered me what you're saying about your hands. One of my best friends was also a defensive back. His name was Steve Kalim, and he would sit with his fingers like this. And you know how you wiggle your toes and you bounce your knees, and he would just have that little nervous energy. And then I knew he was ready to play when that nervous energy went away. So it would take him 10, 15 minutes before the game of just this frantic, nervous energy because he never wanted to make a mistake. We only had 3 defensive backs. Timmy, myself in the middle, Steve on the outside. He never wanted to let us down. And I knew once he would come, so I wouldn't speak to him until he was done with that little thing, which might have been ritualistic, right? I don't know if it's on purpose or just to get out nerves.
Yeah.
But every athlete prepares a little different.
Yeah,
right?
and it's like just the way, you know, to get into that mindset of, you know, I'm ready for the game and I'm ready to shoot my shot or whatever.
What got me ready was yelling at everybody to get them ready.
For me, I would just basically go through the plays in my head. I would sit there pretty much on my own, get a spot where it's a little quiet, and I would go through the different plays that we've practiced throughout the week and try to get that down so I would not have a problem out on the field. Another little ritual I did is the day before the game, in the evening, I would go to Sizzlers, I live in Kaneohe. I go to Aikai Shopping Center where they had a Sizzlers there, and I'd eat a nice big steak.
Yeah, speaking of coaches and maybe steak, tell us about the coaching staff.
I'll let Dwayne start. Dwayne, you had some really cool relationships with our head coach and your coach, right?
Yeah.
Was it Howard Gay, right?
Howard Gay was our junior year.
Oh.
And but he was a quarterback up from the University of Hawaii, and he had finished his playing days up there. And he came and he coached as an assistant coach, and he coached me quarterback. And pretty much everything I learned was from him because he was able to take the time to work with me personally. Coach Botello was the head coach and was a quarterback at the University of Hawaii, a great quarterback, but he was overseeing the whole team. And basically he didn't have the time to work with us one-on-one, where Howard Gay came in and he took the time to show footwork. We worked on footwork, we worked on handing off the ball, of hiding the ball, of basically, and he really helped me with my throwing of the ball, of getting the ball, and I had a shorter release because I played a lot of baseball, so I had a more of a sidearm release when I threw the football, and he taught me how to get the ball up in the air because I'm not that tall, and you're playing against linemen that are taller than you, so you gotta get the elevation of the ball as high as you can when you throw it. And he worked, what I appreciate is he worked on the muscle that you throw the ball with, which is your tricep. And we did exercises with weights and all to develop that. And so, but I remember, especially during the summertime, of getting us out there and throwing the ball on a deep pattern where you gotta throw the ball like 30 yards on the line. And my arm, I'd go in the shower after practice and let it run into the hot water because it was so sore, because you work that particular muscle all the time. So.
Yeah.
But for you, Kev, do you have a coach that stuck out for you?
Mr. Pang,
What was your relationship with him?
I tried to stay away from him because I didn't like to crab up and down the field.
Oh, yeah.
That's all.
What about for you, Timmy? You have any
same
coach?
thing. I mean, Coach Pang, Henry Pang, Coach Tam. They were back coach. They were a lot of those guys were linemen coach, but they seemed so smart at the time, and they were, they could, coach us, when we were, not on task, and Coach Botello, of course, was always around, but Coach, Henry Pang he was just kind of always there, and he was very encouraging, and I remember him well. But I tell you what I always also remember when we get to it is those days, in the summertime, we were all, coming into practice for the first time, we were all in good shape. In those days, we didn't have weights like they have now, for the most part. We were digging ditches, working plumbing, maybe, we were on canoe teams, so we were, building ourselves kind of up naturally. So we showed up for 3 a days, and in the heat of the summer, we were in terrific shape. And so, at that point, we just looked to our coaches and said, okay, what do we need to do? And we had some terrific coaches.
Did you have a coach, Fa, that played a major role in yours? Because you were on the varsity for 3 years. You remember a coach that influenced you or something?
Yeah, from the very beginning to the very end, it was always Coach Botello. It seemed like he took me older than anybody else, and so more like aware of the sport, and I loved it. I loved being treated like a mature player, understand the game, that kind of thing. And I was perfect for somebody to be tough to me in helping him.
And so I was the same with Fa. So it was Coach Botello, because he treated David and I think, a little different than everybody. He was hard on us in front of everybody when he needed to be, just to make an example. But he also entrusted us with maybe more responsibility than most. And I'll give you an example. My junior year, I was a starting running back with Randy Akal. And Randy Akal was a great running back. He was a senior, didn't get a chance to start when he was a junior. So Coach Botello pulled me aside and said I was going to start, but he needed me to be a good blocking back because he was going to feature Randy, and I would catch the ball out of the backfield and I would get screens and draws, but Randy was going to be the star of the backfield. And so in not so many words, he didn't ask me, he told me, and then he asked me in front of the rest of the team to make it my idea. And so that was, I think, the magic of Coach Botello, is he was inclusive, he was definitely the man in charge, but he let his captains and his stars feel like we were a big part of it. And what Fa'a was talking about is we all had been game captains at different times, but he was the man. Fa'a was the captain, right? He was the guy. And so if we had to answer to him first, and then we answered to the coaches second. He's an older man, but he had a very distinguished career. A lot of things that the people in the ILH get to do, he was the guy that started. He started Pac-5. When he left Damien, he went to Mid-Pac, was their athletic director, and Coach Botello started, which was actually, they were called the Hummers. HBMMU for all the small schools, Hawaii Baptist, Maryknoll, Mid-Pac, University High. And then within a year or two, he changed that to the Pac-5 Wolfpack. And he was the ILH, the main guy in the ILH for many, many, many years until he turned that over to Blaine Geisen. And he was handpicked to do that. And Coach Botello, by the way, he happened to be a friend of mine my entire life. So I've been in touch with him all through my adult life. Yeah, he was great. He was great for all of us.
On October 20th, 1972, Damien defeats Punahou 14-6.
Yes.
So tell us the significance of this win.
It was a monumental moment for us, for me in particular, because we had never beaten Punahou before. And we had strived for it all the years for my freshman year, and even all the years before that we had a football team here at Damien, nobody beat Punahou at that point. And it just sticks out in my mind as David beating Goliath, basically.
Right.
You know, we were a small school. We were the smallest in the ILH, yet we were playing Division I and against the Giants, and to beat them was monumental to me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for Punahou, by the time we got to our senior year, I really believe that we knew we could beat them. We just hadn't beaten them.
Yeah.
You know, we had played them, before senior year, and obviously we almost had the game. We had the game in hand at the end of the junior year. So, you know, we had confidence that we were as good as Punahou. The question was when, would we win? And I think we were never afraid. I mean, we knew they had great talent. They had, mostly Tutupu, but was a heralded back and went on to play at USC and the pros for many years. But we just felt real confident in our ability. But Punahou was just kind of like St. Louis, but a little different. But Punahou was just kind of like the big hill to climb, and that's how we looked at them.
Well, I hated Punahou,
Well, hate is a strong word.
I remember crashing their parties when they had a party after the game on a Friday night. Us going there in cars and trying to start fights with them and stuff. So we had a basic art, like he said, David and Goliath. We wanted to kick their butt, because they didn't respect us.
And then the history before us, there were games. One of my teammates, Kona Kodama, who was sitting off camera, sent us some information. They beat Damien 57-0, 61-0, 50-something to 6. So they didn't respect us, like Kevin said. And then our junior year, we had a pretty decent team. We were leading Punahou, and Timmy and I were in the backfield. Fa'a was on the line at the time. We were leading them. We knocked their starting quarterback out of the game, and then they bring in a second-string quarterback, and on the last second play, they beat us, and so we lost at the last second. So we knew we could beat them. And after that game on the bus, real quick side story, we all were in the bus and we promised each other that we were going to come back and beat Punahou. So I think it was a mission for us. Go ahead.
Our first game, we played them at Cook Field at the University of Hawaii, and we came real close to beating them. It was, I think, 27-20.
Yep.
Very close game. We were up and up with them the whole game, and unfortunately, we ran out of time. But we knew we could play with them. We knew we had a chance to beat them at that point.
Yeah, with that game though, the first round game, Punahou did beat us 27-20, but I hurt my knee in the first play of the second half, and Fa'a hurt his knee in the second half, and he and I didn't play the whole second half, which means you lost a running back, a defensive back, a kick returner, punt returner, tight end, defensive end, right?
Yeah.
So you'd lose 4 or 5 really key components, and we still almost beat them. So when Fa and I did come back a week or so later from our knee injuries, we were pretty much on a mission that wasn't going to happen in the second round.
Yeah, so
My recollection is that Heine and Fa were targeted too. I don't know if that's the truth, but that's one of the underlying things why I have a bad feeling towards Punahou, because we had to play that second half without them, and we thought that they were injured with cheap shots.
And that's absolutely true. So real quick, when I was playing at the University of Hawaii, my roommate was from Punahou, and he actually told me that they had directives that if they took me and Fa out of the game, they win the game. And so the play that I got hurt, it was on a kickoff return, first play of the second half. Mike Bulbus, a junior, I believe he was, caught the ball because it was a short kick, went to the left. I was looking at him going towards the right. As I was looking to him, one guy hit me low, one guy hit me high, and it was 20 yards away from the play.
yeah.
And according to a friend of mine, my roommate from Punahou, that was a planned play. So they knew if they could take me out, get Fa out of the game, that they would win the game, and that's how they won, and that's why it drove us.
And that's why we won the second round.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Go ahead.
And then I know you've already started talking about it already, but what are some other notable plays of the games and the keys to that victory of that game?
We watched the tape. It's been a long 50 years, so it's been a long time. So recently, Dwayne put the tape together, and one of the things that really stood out to me was on defense gang tackling, and also the speed of the game. I think we really did show a lot of gang tackling, but also speed. But we were so motivated at that point in time. We were seniors. We had played them before. We knew they had good talent. We knew that they were had a winning culture. But right about that time, we had started to develop that really winning culture, and we weren't afraid of it. And I think the plays that jumped out of it, certainly Dwayne was able to move that ball, get outside, and there's some screen passes, things like that kind of kept the hard charging defense from Punahou from getting in the backfield, and those unsung heroes like Conan Kodama and Merv Richards, Alex Lopes on the line, and we eventually won. We weren't really surprised. We were happy.
Right.
But
I wasn't surprised at all. We after we got through that first round game, Fa and I came back. We had a meeting with the team. It was a players only meeting, and I told them that we were beating Punahou. I didn't ask them. I told them that we were beating them. I told them that we were better than them. I told them that what they did was just cheap shots and they were taking advantage. And so what really truly stand out, it's not just a play, it was a mentality. We just made a decision that we had enough. We weren't going to be bullied, and we were going to stand up and man for man kick their butts. The way that I put it to the team was, there's 11 battles going on. If 6 of us win, we win our battles. 6 guys got to win every play. We win the play. We win more plays than them. We win the game. And if you saw film, you would realize the games before that, our offensive line, we were trying to put puzzles together, players in different positions. And I don't know that we quite had it together until Punahou and then St. Louis, because then we had the right people in the right place, and then Dwayne could do his magic. So Dwayne was a back of the week against Punahou, and David was the lineman of the week, and they play outstanding games. But the reason Dwayne was a back of the week is because he had time to be that. And it was the offensive line, which was considered to be the weakest part of our team as far as gelling as a unit, and they actually stood out and they gave them time. And then we had some really key players, some young dudes, Pat McGinn and Rocky Montapal and Mike Morshige. If you watch the film, Mike Morshige, Danny Dela Cruz, these guys had great games for us. So it wasn't just the seniors, is because we had an inclusive environment, right? And we brought in these young guys and made them part of us, and it was everybody. So it was a collective thing And that's, to me, it wasn't a play, it was a mentality. Fa, did you remember it any differently?
How that was described was exactly how I remembered it. That's exactly what we had to say. And we did not need to say anything else but that. And I did not want to hear anything else but that, because he was telling us what we need to win. And if anybody talked differently from how Heine was talking about, then, I said, you need to go play, tennis or something.
That's right. It didn't go over well with us, that's for sure. The truth of the matter is, before that game, right, I remember going to different individuals in the locker room, getting in their face. One of them is sitting next to me, and I would get in front of him and go, Red, I need you to be the absolute best that you can be. So I need 100% of everything that you got. And then I think I was more vocal and more demanding, right? And now I didn't do that with Dwayne, because Dwayne was the cool customer, but he would watch and know that all we were doing was getting his army around him ready. And I remember this, Dwayne, we're looking at the film, and I remember when you're talking about Coach Botello having his arm around you. I remember at one point before the game, we're at the Diamond Hole end zone, I had my hand around you in warm-ups, and I told you, Dwayne, you just go be you, and we're gonna be there for you, right? And so I think it was just a culmination of everybody's wants and needs and dreams and aspirations coming to that moment in time. And I told them what we did in our junior year by letting them get away with a victory that they didn't deserve was not going to happen. Yeah. And I wasn't going to let it happen. Fa wasn't going to let it happen. And I told Dwayne, don't you dare you let it happen. Yeah. And if you watch the film tape, you will see, yes, we made mistakes, but that's just football. But nobody made a mistake that cost us the game.
We played as a team. We really gelled together, and I didn't realize all this. In the moment when you're playing the game, you don't realize everything's going on. Pretty much, I'm on the bench watching when the defense is in there, and I'm on the field performing, doing my job, and I don't realize all the intricacies until I watch these films. And I said, oh my God, our defense played a heck of a game. They swarmed to the guy who had the ball. Our offense was able to make first downs, which created a problem for the Ponoho. They couldn't stop us. And so it really showed me, as I watched these films again, I said, wow, we had a really good, tough team. We played an excellent game.
It was a great game.
Yeah. And so on November 8th, 1972, Damien defeats St. Louis in the same season, 15-13. So just like with Punoho, what were your previous meetings with St. Louis like?
I think our win over St. Louis senior year went back to our freshman year. We had the same nucleus of people that were still on the team. I can't remember if Sam Masui was still there.
Yeah, he was.
Some other guys maybe weren't there senior year, but our freshman year we played St. Louis, up in St. Louis, and we tied 0-0. And the guys that were playing on that team, we really didn't know each other, but we were learning to know each other.
Yeah.
And when we tied 0-0, there was the student body was happy. I remember coming back to school, many of the players were happy because we didn't lose, but there was a few of us on that team. So
I wasn't happy.
That were crushed. We didn't win. We tied. It was a 0-0 tie.
We played the game. It's a 0-0 tie. I was playing quarterback at the time. And so I do a fake dive jump pass to our tight end, and he gets to almost score a touchdown. And then they catch him on the 5-yard line or whatever, right? And then we run out of time, and it's a 0-0 tie. They go to the bus. The brothers are happy. A lot of the parents are happy because Damien had never beaten or tied St. Louis in any sport, right? And there was a bunch of us on the bus crying, of which I was one, right? Because we didn't win. I came from Waianae. And so the guys, and we had some pushing and shoving and wrestling matches on the bus, because for me, it was like, why are you guys happy? We didn't win. We didn't win anything. Yeah. And these guys, St. Louis is walking off the field and they're bummed out, and we're acting like we won something. Yeah. And we got back to Damien, where the gym is now. It used to be a stone parking lot. And I got into a fight with somebody in the parking lot because they were celebrating.
Yeah.
And my thing was, you don't celebrate a tie. That's not a win. If we're ever going to change the culture here at Damien, then we have to learn to win. And so we had a meeting then, and I told everybody, we're going to beat these guys.
Yeah.
We had them. And all we had to do is we had to make a commitment.
By the time, the years went by and we played St. Louis again, I will tell you, I knew, players there. I knew some of the students, but I just didn't like St. Louis. I didn't like it. And we just wanted to beat them. And that culminated, I think, in a lot of the thoughts that finally led to the fact that, we are going to win.
That was, for me, that's where it started. And when Timmy says he didn't like St. Louis, he's being very kind in using that word, right? Because I'll use a stronger word, and it's a horrible word to use, but I couldn't stand St. Louis as far as I could throw up. I hated St. Louis with a passion because they were the other all-boys school.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
They looked down on us. They thought they were better. My cousin was a star quarterback for St. Louis when I was a sophomore, Kaipo Spencer. And at all the family parties, they talked about how they beat up on Damien. And you guys are nothing. You're never going to be nothing. And I told them, dude, when I get to be the star of the team like you are, I'm telling you, we're going to beat them.
Yeah.
So when we got to be seniors, it wasn't even a matter of if we were going to do it. It was about how we were going to do it.
Yeah. And so leads to the victories for 1972 with the St. Louis game where you finally beat them. And then the same season as Punahou too. So how did that feel?
It was awesome, right? It was awesome. And I'll tell you why. First of all, we beat them back to back.
Yeah.
So we beat Punahou, and then the very next week we beat St. Louis. And Punahou was ranked number 1 in this ILH and the state,
Yes.
right? And so we'll go to the St. Louis game specifically. The person to the right of me, right? We called him Red. He was lineman of the week that week, and in my opinion, had his best game of the entire year. He lived in St. Louis's backfield. They ran a 3-back set. He was in there before they could hand off the ball. So even when they did get the ball, they had to change their routes. Fa had a dominating game. If Fa didn't win lineman of the week before, he might have been lineman of the week with Kevin. So between the two of them, they lived in the backfield. And for me personally, like Dwayne watching the film, that game showed the team on all 3 levels, which is the defensive line, the linebackers, and the defensive backs. I think we had our absolute best game. To be honest, I think that game was harder than beating Punahou.
Yeah.
It was harder.
Yeah, it was. I think it was harder too. I think St. Louis was a better team overall. They were than Punahou was when we played Punahou. But beating them in the same season as a senior, that's my claim to fame for my whole life. I'm telling you. I meet people. I meet a St. Louis guy right now. When I'm 68 years old, I'm going to tell him right away. We beat.
You're getting too excited.
We beat you guys in 1973 for the first time. We let all those guys know, all our friends, that we went to Damien. We beat Punahou and St. Louis.
Wow.
And we're in Indiana, telling them how great we were. A couple high school guys.
But more importantly than that, and I'm going to let Fa speak to this too, is what we did is we established a new standard, and we then changed the culture. So now all of a sudden, the big bully on the block, which was Punahou, and then the most braggadocious school, the most arrogant, the cockiest, the ones that treated us like little brothers, which was St. Louis. We put both of them in their place. And so we were at the dance now, and we weren't just at there watching, we were on the dance floor taking their girlfriends.
Right, there you go.
And so, yeah. And so really what it was, it changed culture here at Damien, because no longer did the future have to think about, can we beat Punahou at St. Louis? It's, they already did. It's, can we also beat them?
Yeah.
Right? So fast forward a few years, back in 1977, Damien, my brother, was in school. and they beat Punahou and St. Louis. And from the day that they got to school in 1973 in the fall, it was preached to them that they too could beat Punahou and St. Louis, and because it was already done.
Yeah.
And there are pictures of myself and of Dwayne and a few others and some newspaper clippings, right? So that they could see that it had been done. So it was like, you know, when Kevin was saying that it was his claim to fame, it was mine too. When I played at the University of Hawaii, and all the St. Louis guys and the Punahou guys, I rubbed that in their face every chance I got.
Yeah.
I had very, very similar kind of experience with St. Louis, and I'd also say with Punahou as well. And so I kind of treated them like, you guys lose every time we see you. You guys suck, you know? And I'd be really mean to them.
And so can you speak to the concept of winning and losing for both of these games?
For me, winning was everything, basically. You know, playing sports my whole life, you don't play to lose. You don't play to break even. You don't play to tie. You play to win. And I played ping pong, and you know, I play to win. I don't play to lose. And that was the same mentality I had when I played any sport, especially against Punahou and St. Louis. St. Louis really beat us up real bad our first meeting that year. And coach made some really good adjustments the next time we played him. And it was a totally different game. I had time to throw the ball, our line and everybody. It was really a team effort. Everybody came together and played well. Again, as I watched the tapes and reflected on it, I realized a similar swarming defense that played that shut them down, that really epitomized the culture that was developing here at Damien, a winning attitude that really came about. And I was real proud, you know, watching the tapes and realizing how good our team was. I didn't realize it at the time, because you know, you play a game, you don't get to see the films after, but watching the films again really brought back how good of a team we had.
Well, I think that, I mean, we played to win, you know, not to lose, because we had lost, and we had lost some close ones where we played awfully hard, but just missed out. By the time we got to play St. Louis, we had a core of seniors, but we also had brought along probably 6 or 7 juniors that were integral to our team, and we felt good about that because we were the leaders. We felt we could win, and when we went to the game, we were positive about it, and we brought these younger guys, I guess along, but they were also very talented, a bunch of young people, juniors at the time. But we were locked in.
By the time we got to St. Louis, I already knew we were going to win. It wasn't about if we're going to win, it was just how. And for me, when you talk about the difference between winning and losing, that's all, you have to have context, right? And so for me personally, it wasn't about winning.
Yeah.
I just hated losing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't about to let Punahou or St. Louis or anybody walk off that field and feel better than me that day.
And I saw you guys putting your full effort in it. And so it inspired me to put my full effort in it and get better. And it didn't culminate until those 2 games. Yeah. I got killed in the Cam game. I got killed in the Iolani game. I watched the film. They were knocking me on my okole, and I must have learned something by getting knocked down so many times.
Yeah.
I must have learned something.
I think you just had enough.
I had enough.
But I think that's a very important point, because I think everybody at Damien just had enough.
Right.
And every athlete had to come to a realization that they had enough. And then as a team, we had enough.
Yeah.
And our coaches were key for us maturing with our football technique over that season.
Yep.
Our techniques changed. Our techniques matured.
So I know I have notable teachers at Damien that have impacted my life. Currently mine is Sensei. So were there any notable teachers at Damien that impacted your life?
Yeah, Dwayne?
For me, it was Brother Ford. I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but in our day, he was a
dean of students.
He was a big gentleman, about 6'4", 280, 270.
Right, something like that.
Big man. And he was very strict, very disciplinary, and he taught English.
Yeah.
And he was also the trainer on the football team.
Yeah.
But he really instilled in me discipline of pretty much never giving up.
Well, I think yes. I mean, so many when I think about it. Probably Coach Botello was Mr. Botello in the classroom because he also taught business law and he was around during the day, so you had an opportunity to see the coach. And of course, we weren't playing football all year, so off season he would be around and someone you could talk to, and that was just terrific. Brother O'Donnell was a brother I remember because he worked in counseling, and so he was someone you could go into and talk about colleges, talk about life after life.
Yeah,
after
he was
Damien.
great.
Brother O'Hare was one of those two that I remember quite well, and I think when we were talking before, Mr. Davies, and you all can, you and Kevin and Heine can talk about him more so. He was also very impactful, as a important kind of person, during that development of high school development. So those are the ones that I remember. But again, it was a little different then because we had a lot of brothers. We had lay teachers for sure, but the core was the brothers, and they lived right on their campus, so they were around a lot during school, after school, on the weekends, because they lived there.
That's how I got into college, along with Timmy's dad, Mr. O'Brien. He talked me into thinking seriously about going to Notre Dame, and Timmy's dad wrote me a letter for my college application. And so the influences that got me from high school into college, those are the teachers.
So even for me, a couple of them. Timmy's dad was amazing because he did talk to us about the future, right?
Yeah.
And about college and the value of education and moving forward. So for me, the lay teachers, Timmy's dad and Chip, what's his name?
Davey.
Yeah, so he was amazing, and he and I become friends later on in life.
That's who we were, and it's been an honor playing together and talking tonight with my classmates.
Thank you all for joining us.